This is VOA News. Reporting by remote, I'm Joe Ramsey. Between 60 and 100 Ukrainian soldiers are dying on the battlefield every day, and another 500 wounded, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky told U.S. news group Newsmax in an interview released Wednesday. Quote, "The situation in the east is very difficult," Zelensky told Newsmax, speaking through an interpreter. The high level of losses come as Ukrainian troops try to block a powerful Russian concentration of forces seeking to take full control of the easternmost region. Russian forces are reportedly close to seizing control of the city of Severodonetsk after a lengthy siege involving intense artillery and aerial bombardment. Indications from the battlefield suggest Russians have also experienced significant losses. The Ukrainian government estimated last week that the Russians have lost more than 30,000 soldiers since the beginning of their invasion on February 24th. There could be relief on the horizon for countries dependent on imports of wheat from Ukraine and Russia. VOA's Marissa Melton explains.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said Wednesday that the food crisis exacerbated by the war in Ukraine could be starting to ease up, but he warned any breakthrough could be some time off. The war has effectively bottlenecked supplies of grain and fertilizer from the war zone. Russia and Ukraine account for a third of global wheat supplies, while Russia is a major global source of fertilizer. Guterres called for quick and decisive action to ensure a steady flow of food and energy. The Secretary General traveled to Moscow and Kyiv earlier this year in an attempt to get exports from both countries to resume. Moscow has blamed Western sanctions for the disruptions in supplies and said Russia will allow Ukrainian wheat and Russian fertilizer through the Black Sea if sanctions are eased. Marissa Melton, VOA News.
This is VOA News. An 18-year-old suspect has been indicted on charges he gunned down 10 black residents in Buffalo, New York at a supermarket and will make a court appearance on Thursday, the local county's district attorney said. The DA's office declined to list the charges in the indictment against Peyton Gendron, who was taken into custody following the May 14th shooting rampage, but U.S. media reported he was charged on 25 counts of murder and domestic terrorism. The New York Times reports he was charged with first and second-degree murder as hate crimes and 3 counts of attempted murder along with other charges. The district attorney's office said Gendron was scheduled to appear in court on Thursday afternoon. Prosecutors said Gendron was targeting black people when he shot 13 people at a Tops Friendly Market store with a semi-automatic assault-style rifle. A solemn funeral was held in Uvalde, Texas on Wednesday for Irma Garcia, one of 2 teachers killed in the bloodiest U.S. school shooting in a decade, and her husband Joe Garcia, who died of a heart attack 2 days after the shooting. The couple, who were high school sweethearts, are survived by 4 children. The funeral was held at Sacred Heart Catholic Church, the same church that will see the funerals of many of the 19 students aged 9 to 11 who were shot to death last Tuesday, along with 2 teachers by an 18-year-old gunman who burst into their 4th grade classroom at Robb Elementary School and opened fire with an AR-15 style semi-automatic rifle. Actor Amber Heard says she's disappointed, and actor Johnny Depp says he's at peace after a jury found in favor of all of Depp's libel claims against her and in favor of only one of Heard's counterclaims. AP correspondent Margie Zargaletta reports.
Amber Heard writes on social media she is heartbroken that the mountain of evidence she presented is not enough to stand up to Johnny Depp's influence. She says she's sadder still that she has lost the right as an American to speak freely. Depp says the false allegations leveled against him had a seismic impact on his life and career, and now the jury has given him his life back. A jury ruled in favor of Depp's claims that Heard libeled him with a 2018 Washington Post op-ed piece describing herself as a victim of abuse. The jury also found in favor of one of Heard's counterclaims that Depp's lawyer libeled her when he called her abuse allegations a hoax. I'm Margie Zaraletta.
Recapping our top story, between 60 and 100 Ukrainian soldiers are dying on the battlefield every day and another 500 wounded. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky told U.S. news group Newsmax in an interview released Wednesday. The high level of losses come as Ukrainian troops try to block a powerful Russian concentration of forces seeking to take control of the easternmost region. Find more on our website, voanews.com. Reporting by remote, I'm Joe Ramsey.
This is VOA News via remote. I'm Marissa Melton. U.S. President Joe Biden will use a speech later Thursday to push Congress into taking action on curbing gun violence, even as stark partisan divisions are on full display during a hearing on gun measures. AP Washington correspondent Sagar Magani reports.
The president will speak here from the White House on steps aimed at what his administration calls a gun violence epidemic. It will come hours after the House Judiciary panel held a hearing on Democrat legislation in response to the shootings, including raising the age limit for buying semi-automatic rifles to 21. The Buffalo and Uvalde shooters were 18.
My God, we have to have the courage to protect America.
Amid passionate pleas to Republicans from Lucy McBath and Pennsylvania's Madeline Dean.
Why don't they feel an urgency to do something?
Top committee Republican Jim Jordan said the Democrats' bill would do nothing to stop mass shootings, but would strip Americans of their constitutional rights.
Their real beef is with the Second Amendment.
Sagar Magani at the White House.
The White House on Thursday announced more economic sanctions against Russia, saying they'd taken steps to degrade any key networks used by Russia's elites, including President Vladimir Putin, to hide and move money and anonymously make use of luxury assets around the globe. The White House said the targets include a yacht brokerage, aircraft, and Russian officials and others close to Putin. Targeted yachts include Russia-flagged Graceful and the Cayman Islands-flagged Olympia, as well as two other yachts, both owned by Russian companies. The White House said the new sanctions were made to crack down on evasion and tighten sanctions already in place to enhance enforcement and increase pressure on Putin and his enablers. This is VOA News. Brittany Griner can't play basketball with her WNBA colleagues. She can't call them, but she can write. AP correspondent Charles de Ledesma has that story.
Brittany Griner can't play with her WNBA colleagues. She can't call them, but she can write. In one small bit of normalcy, Griner has been able to receive emails and letters from WNBA players during her detainment in Russia. Hundreds of emails have been sent by them to an account Griner's agent set up to allow them to communicate with her. But it's not easy. The emails are printed out and delivered sporadically in bunches to Griner by her lawyer after they're vetted by Russian officials. Then she doesn't have access to any email account. She has to write a response on paper and her lawyers take a photo of it. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Russian forces occupy about 20% of Ukrainian territory as the war approaches its 100th day on Friday, and fighting continues on several fronts. Zelensky did not say how much territory Russia has captured since the start of its invasion on February 24th. Ukraine said Thursday its forces have recaptured 20 small towns and villages in the Kherson region in the southern part of the country. Meanwhile, Russian forces continue their assault on Severodonetsk. It's the last major city nominally held by Ukraine in the Luhansk region in the eastern part of the country. India has sent a team of foreign ministry officials to Afghanistan for the first time following the Taliban takeover of the country last August. In a statement Thursday, India's foreign ministry said the team will meet the senior members of the Taliban and hold discussions on India's humanitarian assistance to the people. It said the diplomats will oversee the delivery operations of humanitarian assistance to Afghanistan and meet international organizations involved in distribution of the aid. Pakistan has reported its 7th case of wild polio virus this year after the country had gone 15 months without a single child being crippled by the highly contagious disease. The National Eradication Program said Thursday that a 7-month-old girl was confirmed paralyzed by the virus in North Waziristan. It's a turbulent Pakistani district bordering Afghanistan. And recapping our top story this hour, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Russian forces occupy about 20% of Ukrainian territory as the war approaches its 100th day on Friday, and fighting continues on several fronts. Also, President Biden is set to make a speech later this evening to implore Congress to approve common-sense gun laws.